It was the kind of building people forgot. A flat-faced, weather-worn 3-story stack of brick and rust tucked between 2 boarded-up storefronts in the Germantown district of Philadelphia. No gate, no concierge, no pretense, just a black steel door with faded gold numbers. 2642 North Haynes Street. Ben Cartwright arrived on a Wednesday. It was raining, thin sheets slicing down from a gray sky like a veil refusing to lift. He lugged a cheap suitcase in one hand and a folding chair in the other. His car, a 2005 Honda Civic with a cracked windshield and no air conditioning, was still idling down the street, hazard lights blinking like a heartbeat he couldn't control. He looked up at the building for the first time, rain soaking his hoodie. This was home. He was 23, fresh out of college with a BA in English and no job. The apartment was cheap. That was the draw. Unit 206, second floor, rent controlled, all utilities included, $725 a month, and, according to the leasing agent on Craigslist, quiet neighbors. He would soon learn that quiet didn't always mean peaceful. The hallway smelled like boiled cabbage and old socks. The lights flickered in that way fluorescent bulbs do when they're dying but still too stubborn to give up. He passed Unit 201, heard a low TV murmur through the wall. 202 had a handwritten eviction notice taped to the door. 203, locked tight, padlocked from the outside. He didn't pause. He didn't want to know. By the time he reached his door, Unit 206, the hallway was silent. The kind of silence that clung to your skin. He fumbled for the keys. They worked, but the door creaked open like it hadn't been used in years. Inside, peeling wallpaper, one broken ceiling fan, a stained carpet that told stories no one ever should, and something else, that strange, stale coldness, like the air had been still too long. Ben set his chair down. No couch, no bed yet. He'd ordered a mattress online that would arrive in 2 days. For now, the chair and the floor would have to do. He opened the blinds to see the rain. That's when he noticed Unit 207. Directly across the narrow hallway. The door was shut like the others. Same faded green paint, same peephole, but the number plate had no numbers. Just a dark square of adhesive residue where digits once were. No noise, no light, no doormat, no mail shoved into the crack, no signs of life. And yet, he swore he saw movement behind the bottom of the curtain in the window beside the door. Just a flicker, just once, then gone. The first night was uneventful, if you ignored the way the pipes screamed when the faucet turned on, or the way the heater coughed like it was choking on ash, or how the hallway light outside his door never fully turned off, just buzzed quietly, like it was whispering something in code. At 2:17 a.m. he heard it. A soft knock, not at his door, at the door across the hall. 3 knocks, light, rhythmic, then silence. He lay there on the floor, wrapped in an old army blanket, staring at a ceiling fan that didn't spin, listening. Nothing followed. No door opening, no footsteps. And yet, he sat up, crept to his own door, and looked through the peephole. Unit 207's door was slightly ajar, just a crack, but enough to see inside. Darkness, nothing else. No light, no sound. And then, a creak. Ben jerked back, closed his door, locked it twice. The next morning, he convinced himself it was a dream. First night nerves. Maybe someone down the hall knocked, and he misheard the direction. Sleep can play tricks. So can fear. But when he left for Wawa that morning, he glanced at 207. The door was shut again. No footprints. No doormat, nothing, except now, a single object leaned against the frame, something that hadn't been there before. A photograph, faded, Polaroid, of a little girl, about 8 years old, standing in front of a window. Her eyes were too large, not scared, not sad, just aware. He picked it up, on the back, in smudged pencil. I see you. Ben didn't go to Wawa that day. He went back inside, locked the door, sat in the corner, waited. The hallway light buzzed louder than usual. Later that week, he asked the building manager, an old man named Reggie who lived on the first floor, about Unit 207. Reggie stared at him like he'd grown a second head. There ain't no 207, he said, sipping from a flask he didn't try to hide. That unit's sealed. Ben pressed. But someone's in there. I saw movement. Heard. Reggie raised a hand. No one's been in 207 since. Hell, I don't even want to talk about it. You mind your business, son. That's the best advice I got for you. Ben nodded, said nothing else. But later that night, he couldn't help himself. He opened his door, stepped into the hallway hallway and stood in front of Unit 207. The air was cold, sharply so. The temperature dropped at least 10 degrees between his door and hers. He reached out, touched the doorknob. It was warm, and on the door, now faintly visible in the light, fingerprints, child-sized, smudged, as if pushing out. He turned, went back inside, and taped a note to his mirror. If something happens, it started with the girl in Unit 207. Ben didn't sleep. The warmth of the doorknob, the child-sized fingerprints, the photograph. They swirled in his brain like water circling a clogged drain. He sat on the floor of Unit 206, staring at his own front door, blanket wrapped around his shoulders, lamp on, waiting for another sound. At 3:19 a.m., it came, soft, deliberate, knocking 3 times. Same rhythm, same door. Ben stood. His knees felt hollow. He didn't think, not really. He opened the door. Unit 207 was open. Wide this time. A light flickered inside, dim and orange, like a candle struggling to stay lit in a windless room. He stepped into the hallway, barefoot, as if moving in someone else's dream. He told himself it wasn't real, that he was doing this to prove something, that there was a logical explanation. There always was. But logic didn't explain the hum that vibrated through the hallway floor, or the low child's voice, barely audible, whispering from the darkness, "Don't lock me in again." Ben stepped closer. His hand trembled as he pushed the door. The air inside 207 was heavy, stale, and wrong. The walls were covered in drawings, hundreds of them, sketched in charcoal and rust and what looked terribly like dried blood. The same girl over and over, standing in windows, sitting in corners, staring, always staring. In the center of the room was a wooden chair, turned toward the wall. Someone was sitting in it, a small figure, pale legs, blackened feet, thin arms resting on the sides. Her head hung slightly forward. Strings of dark hair veiled her face. Ben spoke, a whisper, "Hello." The girl raised her head. Her face was gray, half melted like wax near fire. One eye was missing. The other was wide and wet, gleaming like polished marble. She didn't blink. She smiled. "You left the door open this time." Ben couldn't move. The lights snapped off. In that breath of darkness, something brushed past him, cold and damp, like fingers from deep water. When the lights returned, Ben was alone. The chair was empty. Unit 207 was empty. The drawings were gone. The air was still. Ben stumbled backward, heart pounding, slammed his door, and locked it. They found his body a week later. Neighbors had complained about a smell. The door to Unit 206 was locked from the inside. No sign of struggle. No signs of violence. Just Ben, eyes wide, mouth open, dead on the floor with a Polaroid clutched in his fist. The photo showed a little girl sitting on a wooden chair, smiling. On the back, "Thank you for letting me out."